is here with us today to share his story. Let me remind you, last week on Saturday, we had his wife, Erica Mukisa, who shared a very chilling story of having an experience of 18 years serving the devil directly. Now, Erica Mukisa is married to Bamboo, who is also here in studio to share his equally chilling story of almost selling his soul to the devil. Remember, you can engage us through our social media platforms. That is TV47KE on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Right now, let's delve into the discussion. Hi, Bamboo. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I see you have quite a number of books, by the way.
Yes, we do.
And I'm sure we'll be looking at that as we move on.
Yes, we will.
You know, it's so good to have you, and it's so good to hear people who have gone through these experiences, because most people choose to be quiet about them,
yes.
And others because they perhaps have had maybe a traumatic experience they want to share. Of course, you have been in the music industry for quite some time.
Yes.
Let's begin there. How long have you been in the music industry?
Oh wow, since 1997, when and I was just a kid. So since 1997, so it's been over 20 years.
20 years?
Yes, over 20 years.
How many stages have you been able to get on, you know, across the globe, Kenya?
Oh wow, I can't even count how many. You know, entertainment took me all over the world, you know, so, you know, I've been across stages, across East Africa, across Europe and the US. Yeah.
All right. I just want to understand. Of course, we already know you almost sold your soul to the devil because of influence from people.
Yes.
Tell us about the build-up of your career, just a little bit of history.
Well, the music bug has always been in our family. You know, my dad was a musician, so I guess he must have got it from his father, and it's in our bloodline. We just love music. And so, you know, I got into music early. I was still in high school when I was, you know, doing music, and amazingly, you know, music's doors just kind of opened up for me, and I was able to just, you know, really get into it and really build a following. And so, as the years progressed, of course, I joined a group called K-South. K-South stood for Kariobangi South, and we built our buzz just through word of mouth. You know, social media wasn't even big at that time, but just through word of mouth and just by you know, being consistent and being really creative. We used to practice all the time. So yeah, we got really good. And, you know, the word of mouth, you know, our name spread, our brand spread, and we found ourselves traveling and doing all kinds of things. Then I went solo. And after I went solo, one of my major singles was called Compe, and it took off. And that allowed me to travel back to the U.S. I grew up in the U.S. from childhood to about, I must have been about 15 when I came to Kenya. And then went to high school. I continued with my studies, but I was doing music at the same time. And so I traveled back to the U.S. through music. And began touring, you know, in different states, and that's how I was able to meet a lot of the, you know, the superstars that are in the U.S. behind the scenes. And
let's just talk a bit about your exposure. Like, you've mentioned that you were able to travel globally. You've been able to meet quite a number of international artists.
Oh yeah.
The few that you've met, who are they?
Wow. I met Akon. I don't know, you know, maybe he might be kind of old by now, but Akon. Ran into Jay-Z in New York. I've run into so many different artists. Ja Rule. I met Gucci Mane. I met so many artists in Atlanta, you know, because I would frequent the places where, you know, they would often go to. I was writing behind the scenes for Convict Music for some time, and so because I have the gift and the skill to create records, to craft records, and to write, I was able to get in and you know, get to know some of these guys behind the scenes. You know, yeah. You
know, for many artists. I'll say, I also tried out music.
Wow.
At some point. I mean, everyone wants to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And I tried out music at some point, and I realized it's very difficult to penetrate the music industry.
Yes.
Even the global industry is even harder.
Yeah.
Now, if the Kenyan industry is even hard, how were you able to access this big names such as Jay-Z?
Yeah.
I've also seen a picture of you with Russell Simmons.
Yes.
How are you able to get into contact with them?
I think through Well, there's the talent, and then there's the hard work, and then connections, and just remain consistent. And you're able to kind of move up just through working hard. Anything that you really put your mind to do, I believe anybody can really, get in and really do. But the connections and networking and staying in it, can really get you far. Yeah, I mean, because now there's people who are in the industry who are not even talented, but because they're committed, they move to, those next levels. And so, just, the level of commitment and being able to work hard, and having talent.
All right.
Yeah.
So what I now actually trying to understand is at what point did you now start meeting these people who are trying to lure you into devil worshipping? What exactly happened? What's your first encounter with these guys?
Well, they'll never come out to your face and just tell you, hey, you need to do this. It will always be very subtle. The enemy, the devil does not come out and tell you, hey, come worship me, you know what I mean? And I'll give you whatever you want. He's tried that with some people. He tried that with Jesus, and Jesus turned him down. But the way he does it, he's very subtle. You'll sell your soul slowly, not just, in an overnight type of thing.
When you say slowly, what do you mean?
Through various stages of compromise. One sells their soul through compromising their integrity. So your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. So whenever you compromise your integrity, you're losing a portion of your soul. So you lose a portion of your mind, your will, and your emotions. That's why somebody like Britney Spears would be a complete superstar, but, ripping her hair out and shaving her head on camera and going crazy. Why? Because you lose a portion of your soul as you proceed to seek fame and to seek power and the things that you're looking for in the world, which are vanity. But it costs you everything. It costs you your soul, you see. So people are willing to give up their souls in exchange for money, power, and fame, which is the exact same thing that Satan offered Jesus. He said, if you'll bow down and worship me, I'll give you money, power, and fame. Everything you can see in this world, I'll give it to you.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you ever go through these stages by the time you got to that particular stage that made you back out?
Yeah, I mean, I got to right at the edge where, a young lady was telling me, a young lady who I happened to date at the time, her name was Crystal, and she listened to my music. And this was while I was living in New York. And she says, wow, you can really blow up. You can, you really have the skill to do this thing. And she was like, I know why you haven't blown up yet. You're not a part of the brotherhood. So she took me to a Santeria priest so that I can be initiated into the brotherhood. And after that, you really blow up. And Santeria is big in music business in America. I mean, there's big names in Santeria. There's, Jennifer Lopez, her ex-husband. I mean, there's big names in Santeria. And Satanism, generally, if you look behind the scenes in celebrityhood, there's big Satanists. You know what I mean?
When you say Santeria, what do you mean by Santeria? What's Santeria?
Santeria is it's a form of witchcraft. It's just a form of witchcraft. Hell has many entrances, many different religions, many different ways that you can sell your soul, or many different ways to compromise. That's why in Christianity they say there's only one way, through Jesus Christ. But to hell there are many entrances. There's only one entrance to heaven, and that's Jesus. But hell has very many entrances. So Santeria is just one of them. The music industry is another one. The entertainment industry is another entrance. There's so many different entrances. There's banking, there's military, there's all kinds of different entrances into hell. But there's only one way into heaven.
I want us to go back in detail.
Yeah.
This lady who introduced you to this person that you call the Santeria, who is probably, as you say,
He's a priest.
This is a priest, witchcraft priest.
Yeah.
What exactly happened? Narrate to us the story of that day.
Okay. So we were living in Brooklyn, New York at the time. And she takes me to his shop. Now, there's shops in New York, they call them bodegas. So she takes me to his bodega. And he's got all kinds of things in his shop. Candles. I saw candles with different pictures of saints. St. Peter and St. Paul and St. Mary and all of these different saints, which we're not supposed to be doing anyway. We're not supposed to be praying through saints. You know, you pray directly to the Father in the name of Jesus. But now, there are different saints and different candles, candles for money, candles for dreams, candles for love and romance and all kinds of, religious witchcraft candles. And then there was books and literature. There's like the 6th and 7th book of Moses, which is a book of witchcraft enchantments and like witchcraft curses, things that you repeat and you can conjure spirits. Okay, so I saw all this stuff in his store and I was like, wow, this stuff is crazy, and there's all kinds of incense and charms and statues and weird things, all kinds of witchcraft things. And then at the counter where you're supposed to pay for the items, there was the cash register, obviously, and then there's a giant a Grim Reaper. I don't know if you know what a Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is the angel of death. He's wearing like a black hoodie that covers, a black robe that covers him, and then inside the hood there's a skeleton, and then he's holding a sickle, the long stick that's used for harvesting. So it's a long stem with a very sharp blade at the end. And he's standing on the counter, and from the top to the bottom of this sickle, there's dollar bills on top of dollar bills. You know what I mean? So people sell their souls to this devil because of money, and he really does give them money. But at the end of the contract, that's why Jesus said, "What would it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul?"
All right. So when you went there, the friend who took you there, what were you supposed to get from that particular shop?
So,
in particular, that was going to help your career grow.
Yeah, so Crystal took me to that shop, and what she said was, this man is going to initiate you. He's going to baptize you into the brotherhood. And then after he baptizes you, things are going to start going your way. Yeah, so...
But what was the guarantee? Had it worked for someone else? Are there people you know who had actually gone that direction?
She said, she mentioned the fact that, all of the greats have done it. Everybody who's ever been great. Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, all of the Big L, all of these guys who had already had deals before, who wanted record deals and got them. And some of them are even big till this day, have passed through the brotherhood. So I said, oh, okay. I was a little hesitant. I was wondering, what does this have to do with music? I'm good at making records. I'm good at crafting records. Why are we doing this? But, when you want something really bad, you're almost desperate, and desperate people do desperate things.
Were you desperate at that time?
Funny enough, I wasn't really desperate, but I was hungry. I wanted this music career. I mean, I'd come back from Kenya. I'm in the States now. I'm ready to make this thing happen. It looked like a door of opportunity. It wasn't so much desperation as it was more like, wow, an opportunity to, really have success. And so, like any other young man, I really wanted it. And so the priest was like, hey, are you ready? We can do this. And I said, I heard a still small voice. When God speaks, it's not like a thundering sound from heaven. It's a little still small voice. And he just said, once you cross this line, you don't go back. So once I heard that, I said, okay, well, let me think about it. And I told him, let me buy some books and see what you guys are about before I jump in. And he said, of course, yeah, go ahead. So I used that excuse to buy some time. And then I got out of that shop. And when I was walking out, I was like, I don't know why I felt like that was close, But I never went back again. But I mean, that was just one instance where I was that close. But I didn't realize it at the time. I just knew that, some of the stuff in there was kind of scary, like, the Grim Reaper, the angel of death. Like, what is this? What does this have to do with music? So, yeah, I came that close.
And when you talk about the brotherhood, what's the brotherhood in this case?
In the entertainment industry, there are circles of brotherhood. okay? They don't allow you in unless you are covenanted. And to be covenanted means that you've compromised your integrity. You're willing to do anything to get in. So usually it will be some crazy sexual act, you know, on top of an initiation. It's very spiritual. But the sexual act will covenant you to somebody who's already in. So once they sleep with you, and that's why the industry right now is really a homosexual industry. The American music industry is a homosexual industry. But actually, not just music, entertainment, period. It's a homosexual industry. And so a lot of these guys who you're seeing, I mean, I don't care how gangster they look. A lot of these guys behind the scenes, there's footage of them, you know, doing some homosexual act. And they use that over you. They'll blackmail you with that. They'll say, from now on, we own you. Yes, you're a superstar. Yes, you're getting $1 million checks, but we own you. And you're on video. And you know you're on video because you saw them recording you. But they're like, if you really want this, do what you got to do, you know. And people do it because they're desperate. They want fame that much. And when they compromise your integrity on that level, you really do sell your soul, okay? People really sell their soul. That's why Jesus says in Luke 21:19, in your patience, possess ye your souls. He's telling you, hold on, you know, those things you're looking for in life, success, God can give you success. But if you want to compromise your integrity, if you want to take a shortcut to get it, then it's going to cost you your soul.
All right.
Yeah.
I want us to take a short break. I know there's much more to this story that you're yet to tell us, because that was just the beginning of what was being lured to sell your soul to the devil.
Yeah.
I want us to take a short break, and when we return, we go deeper into your story, Bamboo. Remember, you can engage us through our social media platforms. That is TV47KE on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Remember, you can also send your questions. If you have questions for Bamboo, he will be sure to answer those questions, so you can shoot them.